John McMullen joins us now, as he does every day at this time, to talk a little Eagles football, a little NFL football. Hello, John.
Hello, guys. Enjoying the crab fries?
There are good crab fries going on out here. I've seen some other people with some other beverages in front of them. We'll partake in them later, of course. Now, John, I did want to ask you, because I know we've talked off-air in the studio that you spent time covering the NBA for a long time, and, of course, the news breaking within the hour that Craig Sager passes away at age 65. Did you have any interaction with Craig Sager during your travels and NBA coverage?
I did. I knew Craig a little bit, going to the NBA Finals a number of years, and obviously it's unfortunate, and he became sort of a larger-than-life personality. Part of it, obviously, he was a tremendous reporter, and he had that sense of flair with the wardrobe and all that. And, it's sad anytime somebody of that stature passes away.
John McMullen, our Birds insider, and also FanRagSports.com, as usually we talk NFL, but I wanted to ask you about that because I figured you would cross paths with him at some point in time. Yes, certainly sad news coming out today about Craig Sager as he passes away at the age of 65 from leukemia. But we'll turn to Eagles football and some other news that's taking place in the sports world. And certainly today, a day, John, where none of the coordinators talked, the head coach didn't talk, but yet the locker room opened for the first time for you guys to go in and really dig in there and get some deep stuff. What came out of the locker room that caught your fancy today?
Well, I think the interesting thing for me was at practice, and obviously they were indoors again because it is brutally cold today in the Philadelphia area. But, Doug had spoke on Wednesday that he thought Alan Barber was going to play Sunday in Baltimore. And that could still happen, but he wasn't out there again. So this is the second straight practice he's missed. And again, it was Isaac Seumalo lining up at right tackle. And that's a concern because you're down to number 5. That would be the 5th right tackle the Eagles have used this year if he's forced to play this weekend. And there aren't a lot of options. Dylan Gordon is there, sort of a converted tight end in college at LSU, trying to learn the tackle position. They obviously don't feel comfortable with him yet. So a guy who has spent much of his time, on the interior positions, learning left guard, playing right guard in absence of, in place of Brandon Brooks with his anxiety issues. Also might be the longtime heir apparent at center. A lot of people don't realize that. The Eagles like his smarts and his athleticism. But he claims he's ready to go if needed to be called upon. And if you think about that Ravens pass rush, especially on the edges, you got Elvis Dumerville, Terrell Suggs. And they'll move those guys around, especially Suggs. That's going to be a tough way to stick your toe in the water, so to speak, if he's got to play on an island against the Baltimore Ravens.
John, we talked a little bit yesterday about Michael Floyd, and we're coming up here on the 24-hour period where we'll have passed where teams could have put in their claim for him. Would you be more surprised if the Eagles put a claim in for him or if they did not?
I would be more surprised if they put a claim in for him, just because of the way they do business, and that's just not the nature to make a splash with a waiver wire pickup. Because remember, as a former first-round pick in the final year, he makes a significant amount of money. So that's one of those things where I think if the Eagles did have interest, they would wait for him to clear waivers and then try to work out a deal with them that way. But, he's got some significant issues with alcohol. That's pretty evident. If you talk about what happened and the fact that he passed out with the car running, that's a concern, obviously. But now that I delve into it, he had 3 other issues with alcohol related offenses in college at Notre Dame. So this has been a long-term problem. So that was part of the due diligence I was talking about yesterday, that the Eagles can certainly make the phone call and try to figure out what's going on, because they need help at that position. And this is a way of getting a really good player in an unconventional fashion, if you feel he can do some things to recover and get back on the right track. But that's the kind of off the field, behind the scenes stuff the Eagles got to do, and they got to feel comfortable with. So I think that would take more than 24 hours. So it would shock me more if they made the waiver wire pickup.
As you look at, the Brandon Brooks issue, I'd be curious to see what you think here about how how his teammates respond. I mean, certainly he deserves a lot of credit for standing up and having the courage to be honest about what's been going on, but he's kind of left his team high and dry on game days 2 out of the last 3 weeks. What's the reaction been like in the locker room? Are these guys, totally supportive of him? Are they a little frustrated by what's going on? What's the reaction been like?
No, I think everybody's been really supportive from the organization on down, because it is a pretty serious issue. And it's one of those things where I applaud him as well for coming out and explaining the situation, because I think there is when you talk about anxiety, I think the people who have never sort of had issues with it don't understand it, and they automatically assume it's a fear-based thing. And I wrote about that on FRS NFL with Brandon. It's like, if you walk up to Brandon Brooks' locker, the last thing you're thinking about is a guy who's fearful. This is a 340-pound guy who is one of the strongest players in the NFL, and that's his reputation, the road breaker. So I think it was helpful for not only himself, but for many, many people who suffer from social anxiety or other types of anxiety, trying to educate others to say it's not necessarily about fear. And it can be crippling, because he explained that when this happens to him, he gets violently ill and basically throwing up for 24 hours. So it's one of those things that they have to get under control, and he is on medication now, but that type of situation where it takes a while to kick in someone's system. So hopefully they're over the hump, and last week will be the last time it happens, but we'll have to see. He's been on the practice field each day this week, but that hadn't been an issue leading up to the games he missed. So it's always sort of the trigger for him is game day, and he's so hyped up for games that this happens to him. And the doctors in here are working on it, and everybody's been pretty supportive of it.
John McMullen with us. He's our Eagles insider for 97.3 ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at JF McMullen. Now, John, another story that doesn't seem to be going away this week is the hit on Darren Sproles, the hit that DeShazier Everett laid out on Darren Sproles. Bad timing with bad intentions. 4 days later, there's still some discussion about that hit. I know Doug came out and said that he thought it was a legal hit, but now Brian Brayman's come out and said that it's the definition of targeting.
Well, it is the definition of targeting if you read the definition sort of by college rules, because they're the ones who have that rule in effect. So I don't think there's any doubt that it was an illegal hit, or if that was a college football game, it would have been thrown out. There's no question. To me, the issue is to do it intentionally. I do not believe he did it intentionally. That's a situation where you have a young player who's going down on a punt, and got a little too hyped up and hit a guy the way he shouldn't have. And when you think about the bang-bang nature of the NFL, and you're going a million miles an hour, that kind of stuff happens every once in a while. And unfortunately, it happened to Darren Sproles. He's in the concussion protocol. We'll see if he can get cleared and get back on the field. But to me, it's two different questions. Was it an illegal hit? Yeah, unquestionably. He deserved to be penalized. He deserves to be fined. Did he do it on purpose with the intent on injuring Darren Sproles, which a lot of people think? I don't see any evidence of that. Or why would it even enter his mind? I mean, this is a giant fraternity, NFL players, and by and large, not always, but by and large, there's no really malice with people trying to injure each other. And there was certainly no history between a veteran player like Sproles and a young player like that. So I just don't think the people going down that path, that he did it on purpose trying to injure, I just don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, comments coming out from Everett where he sounded contrite. He said, quote, "If I could have taken that split second back, I definitely would. It's too late. You can't take it back. You can't rewind. It's not a video game. You make choices out there on the field, and you've just got to live with it. Unfortunately, it was a bad hit." That's Everett saying that, and his head coach, Jay Gruden, came out yesterday and said he wasn't trying to injure. That's an unfortunate deal. He was apologetic about it. I love his energy. He plays hard. He plays fast. Special teams, he has made his mark. So both the coach and the player still talking about that hit 3 or 4 days later. But also, then, John, it has ramifications for the Eagles moving forward if Darren Sproles can't play. Obviously, they activate Kenyon Barner. But how much of a problem, then, does that present for the Eagles if Darren Sproles can't play and you're already going up against the number one run defense in the league?
Yeah, I mean, it creates a lot of issues. It's one of their toughest matchups, maybe the toughest offensively, as far as opposing defenses trying to match up. Because his ability, not only as a running back, where he's that small, shifty guy who some of those big guys can't even see him behind the offensive line before he's right up on them. And then you kind of saw in the Redskins game when the Eagles split them out wide and threw that fade pattern to him for a touchdown. There's a lot of things Darren Sproles can do that nobody else on this offense can do. So, yeah, if they don't have him, it's just a bigger blow to a skill position group we always talk about that isn't that talented to begin with. So it's a concern when you lose a player that good.
John, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, curious for your thoughts on this. You know, the defense got off to a great start. We all remember that. Since then, obviously, it's been a different tune. Who do you blame for the defensive problems, the players or Jim Schwartz?
I blame Jordan Hicks. No, I'm kidding. Jordan is having a great year. Tremendous. Been a tremendous player. He might be the one player from the Chip Kelly regime you go, the Eagles really, really got something there, because he's a heck of a lot better than I thought he was. But I say that in jest because before the Seattle game, there was all that talk about the Eagles defense versus the Seahawks defense. And the Eagles were actually statistically rated ahead of the Seattle defense at the time. And Jordan said during his weekly press conference that he thought the Eagles defense was as good as any defense in the NFL. And ever since then, they've taken a significant downtick. But I think it has more to do quickly with the talent than Jim Schwartz. I think eventually people were going to figure it out. Very similar to Carson Wentz and the offense. The more you get the Eagles on film, the more it was going to become evident what their issues were. And defensively, the issues are the quarterbacks. And the quarterbacks can't hold up. and that makes it very, very difficult. Everyone complains that Jim doesn't blitz enough, and it's true he doesn't want to blitz if he doesn't have to blitz, but that doesn't mean he won't blitz. The concern, however, is if when you need to send extra rushers, that means man-to-man coverage on the outside. And who's going to hold up on the outside of this defense? We've seen Nolan Carroll and just take a drastic turn for the worse over the past couple of weeks. And Jalen Mills has been, I give him a lot of credit for being a rookie and going out there every week and working as hard as he does, but it's been difficult for him. And it's not a surprise because he's a 7th-round pick. So other than Leotis McKelvin, who has his ups and downs, as we know, I don't think there's anybody that Jim trusts on the outside of cornerback, and I can't really blame him for that.
Wanted to pass this along. It just cleared here. The Patriots have claimed Michael Floyd. So Bill Belichick. Yeah, at it again. He's like, Acura recycling. And so that's now behind us. I'll be curious to see, though, if the Eagles did put in a claim on him. John, wanted to get to this, though.
The Patriots, real quick, they couldn't have because the Patriots.
You're right. They're behind them.
Yeah, they're behind the Eagles. So
they're behind them.
Depends. Either Cowboys, Patriots are 31-32. So Patriots would have been the last team or the second to last team in the waiver process.
Yeah, so there you go. That is now behind us. I'm curious for your thoughts on this, John. Bigger disappointment on defense. I'm going to give you 3 names. Connor Barwin, Vinnie Curry, or Michael Kendricks.
That's a good question because Connor's the one guy. Connor's my answer. I don't think he's a fit for this defense. I don't think he's played well, but he's played. Those other 2 guys really haven't played nearly as much. Michael, because he's the 3rd linebacker in a defense that has played predominantly nickel, barely gets on the field really each and every week. So I don't think he has a lot of opportunity to do good things or bad things, to be honest. And Vinny, obviously, with big contract, he would have liked to have seen more production. But I think when he's out there, I think, even though the numbers might not show it, he still, at times, puts pressure on the quarterback. I think Connor Barwin is just a square peg in a round hole in this defense. And I don't think he's going to be here next year. And I think, even though Connor loves Philadelphia, I think he'd probably be happy about that. People always have a 3-4 defense as an outside linebacker.
John McMullen with us. He's our Eagles insider for 97.3, but he also works for FanRagSports.com as he covers the NFL. And we'll wrap up, John, by asking you a few NFL questions. Of course, tonight, that blockbuster of a matchup as it's the Jeff Fisher-less Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. I guess you'll be watching that game. Are you watching it under duress?
I am watching it under duress. I never want to see. We constantly talk about the Thursday night games tend to be poor product anyway because of the short preparation week. Then try to have that preparation when you fire your head coach early in the week, early in the short week. The Rams are a piece of work the way they do their business. And hey, but knowing the NFL, John Fossil will probably show up and put in a good performance and somehow end up being better than Jeff Fisher. That wouldn't shock me at all either.
I look at some of the daily NFL headlines that are popping up today, including one that says Josh Norman saying the Panthers GM stabbed me in the back. What else is he going to say, right?
Yeah, well, it kind of, if anything, Dave Gettleman kind of stabbed himself in the back because that was, I think, the first indication that the Carolina Panthers were going to go from a 15-1 team to a sequel that doesn't even make the playoffs. I think by taking the franchise tag off Josh Norman and letting him leave, and more importantly, not get anything in return for him, that was as bad as it gets for a general manager in this league. So, while personally Josh thinks Steve Gettleman might have done that, I think really, if anything, he hurt himself more than he hurt Josh Norman.
And then also the Miami Dolphins, some news coming out about Nick Saban. I don't know if you saw this. The former Dolphins player PK Sam went to Twitter and tweeted out that Nick Saban cut him 10 years ago because he left the team to go visit his dying father. Yikes.
Yeah, well, if it's true, and we don't know, we'll often go on Twitter and say things, but if that's true, Brad Childers didn't cut Troy Williamson, but he did sort of the same thing to find him when Troy left the team to go see, I think it was his dying grandmother. So, there's some bridges, and I will just say this. If there is one guy I would say that would do that, Nick Saban would maybe be one of the top 2 or 3 names out of my mouth. So I'm not saying it's true, but I certainly believe it's possible that it's true.
John McMullen with us. He's our Eagles insider on 97.3 ESPN, also works for FanRag Sports. We talk to him every day at this time. John, thank you so much. Johnny Mack, and, of course, Mike Gill and I will talk to you again tomorrow as we get your prediction for Eagles-Ravens and hear what Doug has to say tomorrow morning and all that good stuff. Thanks, John.
All right, thanks, guys. Enjoy kicking.